Hey everybody, Todd Dammit Kerns here, brought to you today by the fine folks of People for Animals, one of my favorite charities out of Nashville, Tennessee. Today, speaking of Nashville, Tennessee, speaking to a very good friend of mine. He's been with Bon Jovi secretly from the very, very beginning. The very first song, Runaway, he played bass on. He eventually became part of the band officially. We've been playing together for years in Raiding the Rock Vault. One of my all-time favorite humans and really a proper bass player. My dear friend, Hugh McDonald. I'm recording. You are live.
Yippee!
Yahoo!
As I said, yahoo!
It should be noted that this is our second try at this. The first time was full of expletives and you were naked. It was like I had to.
What can I say? You know, hung like a hamster. That was the problem.
It was a very adult show, and we thought, well, we should probably family it up.
Yeah, I was wondering if that had anything to do with this.
Well, you never know. You never know. So this place is looking gorgeous. This is the new Nashville. How long have you been in Nashville now?
A little over a year.
Oh, it's been that long? I probably said this exact same thing last time I talked to you. Well, I guess because you add COVID into that, and it just stretches
been
everything
almost.
out.
It seems like the entire time I've been here, it seems like it's been COVID.
I know, right?
COVID this, COVID that.
COVID that, coronavirus this, So let me ask you this: as far as a guy who grew up in and have seen so many different scenes, like playing and all the different things you've done. What do you note to be? I mean, obviously Nashville is all music, which I think is really infectious when you're there. Is that part? I know the main reason you're there is for family and all that kind of stuff, but is that a big part of your relocation to Nashville?
Well, before I get into that, I have to say, infectious is not a good term to use these days. It's
good point.
It's more happy wife, happy life.
Oh, of course. So
and that's because the kids are here, and then now we're grandparents. So, if we were still in Utah, it would be costing me a small fortune in airline tickets.
Yeah, of course. So you're kind of like you'd probably be okay anywhere, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I proved it. I moved to Utah.
Well, remember, because for those that don't know, Hugh and I, we rocked together in Raiding the Rock Vault here in Las Vegas. But our first time rocking together was in Branson, Missouri. And when we first went there, we were all kind of like not sure what to expect. I remember you were sort of like, I don't know about this. And by the end of it, you were like, I don't want to leave. Let's just stay here and like get places and move right into Branson, Missouri.
Right. That was good. I enjoyed it. Other than the heat and the humidity.
True.
It was a lot of fun. That's the first time we had played together. I thought that you had done this. No, that's the first time
I think I might have sat in Vegas a little bit just to kind of get my feet wet.
Because I don't remember
Branson,
that.
But the point is you're pretty adaptable. You could be in Branson, Missouri right now, as long as there's an airport.
As long as the family's happy.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I don't know if it's from years being on the road, but I can live almost anywhere.
Yeah.
People. I mean, when we moved to up near Park City, Utah, from Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'd always been an East Coast guy. I never was in Utah except when the band would play there. And they kept saying, you've got to be going crazy. This has got to, you're in the middle of the mountains and it's got to be a huge adjustment. Nah. No.
There's a Starbucks and there's TV and there's
places.
Life. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I'm good with all of it. I would, as everybody else I'm sure feels, that I want this over so I can at least see what Nashville's like.
I know that's actually really interesting because you're literally you put down roots and then all of a sudden you're stuck inside all the time, so you're not getting to kind of the full Nashville experience at all.
No, I've been downtown, and I've had, so far as, I mean, we recorded the new album here, so
right.
I've been here a bunch of times before. But yeah, but I don't mind. It's cool being stuck here. Even,
yeah.
I mean, we're right on a lake.
Yeah,
and we caught the end of the summer, was great, and it's like it doesn't exist on our street.
Right.
There's a bunch of old people walking up and down the street all day and night, just getting their exercise.
Sure.
And so it's great.
So now, like, how does that compare when you're talking about East Coast, like New Jersey? Was it Jersey where you ended up putting down roots for like post Philadelphia for a long time?
No, the first place I put down roots was in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
And then I was in Jersey for a while, and then I was in Connecticut, and it's but
so that whole hang.
The moving around stuff. Yeah. I was never any place that I went, oh, this is the greatest, I'm never leaving.
Right.
Except now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now you don't need to go anywhere. You should just stay there now. Yeah.
Oh, I am. I'm not going anywhere.
So we may as well get into like what your plans. I mean, with a new record out, so 2020 is out. That we talked about this before, yes. But it's very exciting to and very timely. Obviously, when you name your album 2020, it's sort of like
it wasn't what he was getting at.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The other shit show that's going on.
Oh, exactly. I know. And did he, or more so, like, what is your anticipation of how to support a record during all this madness? I mean, is it I know you did the iHeartRadio thing. That was really cool when you guys played. And other than that, it's sort of like everybody's waiting for venues to open, I assume.
Yeah. Well, let's hope with, now that there's 2 vaccines, and they're saying December they could start giving it to the first responders and the frontline people. And then I actually saw people over 65.
Wow. Oh. Yeah. Hey, it's paying off, baby.
Hey, goddamn right. Gosh darn.
Yeah. No. It's nice.
I know.
It's the nudity I had a problem with. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well, that's all right.
No, so is there been any talk within your camp as far as what to do with streaming concerts, that kind of thing? Or is it mostly just kind of waiting?
Just waiting, I guess. And since we also did a day of recording the album, filmed it and recorded it, so that can be shipped out to wherever is necessary to, to promote and to keep things going.
Right.
But nothing's gonna be getting out and playing.
That's interesting. So the fact that you're the best kept secret in Bon Jovi and also in rock and roll, really, and perhaps in like Chippendales. I'm not sure what your background is, but
we know it's no. Monkey, remember Monkey? Huh?
Yeah. But I think that it's always important to point out to people, and I think people are always kind of a little surprised that you've been there since song 1, like since
before, but pre-Bon Jovi.
Pre-Bon Jovi
wasn't Bon Jovi.
What was he calling it? Just John Bon Jovi, or just?
It was just John. It was a demo. It was demo for Runaway, and it was and then it got picked up, and then he got a bunch of guys locally on the East Coast,
right,
that he felt would be great, but didn't put the band together to be a band. It was just to go out and play a couple of shows to,
yeah, sure,
stir the interest up.
So how did you know John? I mean, had John seen you playing and?
No. I didn't know John. I knew his cousin Tony, who owned the power station.
Right.
And John was working there, sweeping up, getting coffee, learning the ropes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazingly smart it's like a sponge. That idea, this way, that way. And so, and I had been doing sessions there before for other people. And so I got a call to come in and play on this demo.
Oh, that's funny. So that just call turned into eventually where you are today.
Yeah, it turned into 30, 40, I don't know how many years since.
Yeah.
Live since 95, on record full-time on record from Slippery When Wet on.
Right.
And before Slippery, Runaway.
Yeah. That's so crazy to me. I mean, like, what a strange like turn of events and how fate kind of works its hand, I suppose, if you're into such things. But so now, as a session guy, you were living in New York at the time, or was this a Jersey thing?
No, I was living up in Westchester. Never lived in New York City. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Right. So I would commute in. I could take the train in, and or luckily enough, there was great indoor parking for a while at the power station before they added more studios.
Right.
So I could shoot down the West Side Highway and.
Perfect. Wow. So in all those years that you're doing session work, I mean, this is like, that's like 30, 40 years ago now. Were you just like playing locally in like bands and stuff like that? Were you touring or a side guy?
No, I played I played top 40 things.
Right.
Up until even after I recorded Runaway.
Right.
I wasn't in the band, and the band wasn't huge, and there wasn't really a band. No. So, I'd hear Runaway. And then, so it's, they're just the same stuff.
It's so funny, yeah. So did you ever go on the road prior to the Bon Jovi? I mean, were you ever a side guy in something prior to Bon Jovi or anything?
Yeah, Cher.
Oh, that's right, you did Cher.
I did a tour with her with Dave Amato from REO.
Of course,
and Ron Wixo, the drummer, was in Foreigner for a while. And so, and then before that, even the Mamas and Papas.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow.
After, it was just John Phillips, Denny Doherty, Spanking McFarland from a band that was called Spanky and Our Gang.
Wow.
They had a hit called I'd Like to Get to Know You.
Yeah.
And then and Michelle Phillips, not Michelle Phillips. No, Michelle was gone, but it was.
It wouldn't be Mama Cass, obviously.
No. God, I just, she'd kill me.
That's interesting. Wow. So they actually went out with a different female.
Well, they had to go out with because Mama Cass was dead.
No longer with us. Yeah.
And Michelle wasn't doing it anymore.
Right. Yeah. That's so interesting. Well, and what else? Cher.
Before that, it was a folk singer or a singer-songwriter named Steve Forbert.
I remember that name.
Japanese tour with him and some U.S. stuff too.
Cool. So it was like the road was old hat to you when it eventually presented
but
itself.
Not old hat in the style that Bon Jovi did it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't go through, at least with Bon Jovi, the driving in a station wagon with 5 guys, or a tour bus, an older tour bus.
Right.
So it was. I had it pretty easy when I started doing it.
It's you kind of fell ass backwards into the right world. Yeah.
You said ass.
I said ass. I did indeed. But the so I know we've talked about this a bunch of times, but I really, it's always been a fascination in that, he goes and puts a band together and then he thinks, who would be great on this? That Hugh guy who played on Runaway all those years ago. I'm assuming, did you just was it like you made that much of an impression that it just sort of hung on there, or was it the connection?
I had a lot of connections. His producers at that time, a guy named Lance Quinn, who I played in the band with in Philadelphia when we were growing up, and who got me in along with Tony Bon Jovi to do the demo.
Okay.
And he was doing lots of them at that time, and I didn't realize it. I'm sure lots of people played on demos of his, but
sure.
This particular one, since they were grabbing people from other studios, so they got Frankie LaRocca, who since passed away, that was doing John Waite's first solo record, and a guitar player named Tim Pierce, who's still one of the biggest studio players in LA.
Rick Springfield and all that kind of stuff. Tim.
Yeah, he's got a great channel on Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
And then Roy Benton from Springsteen's band. So that was band for that. So
crazy. Wow.
and
it's funny because
So the bigger question is, I mean, when they decide they're recording records in Vancouver, Canada, and they're going to fly Hugh McDonald as the ringer to come in and play on the parts. I know we've talked about this, and I don't know how sensitive it is or not, because I always kind of find myself fascinating. How did this happen? How did they call Hugh McDonald? And they've got an existing bass player who's in all the videos for years afterwards, but you're playing all the parts.
Yes, except the 7800 album. I didn't.
That's the only one
to do with it. Yeah, I never really asked John. I never really said, so why did you call me?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't even know if he'd remember so long ago.
You probably, I guess you just kind of go like, yeah, sure. I'll come up there. Great.
Oh yeah. No, there was no doubt.
No. And what a record. I mean, like, honestly, and the interesting thing for you is witnessing that sort of evolution of it from like the very earliest chapter, and then seeing it sort of like, obviously 7800 Degrees was a success, for all this.
A couple of hits on it.
Yeah, it kind of, but it was nothing like, that's your bass part at the beginning of Living on a Prayer that every cover band on the planet is somewhere right now, somebody's playing that song, playing
it right now in my head. I can't. Yeah. It won't go away. Somebody help me.
I guess that's your sort of claim to fame till the day you die, is that same bass line. Yeah. What a claim though. What a claim to fame.
No, it's hey.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I forgot. Here we go. Weenie was me.
That's hilarious. It's like
me. Stop. Come here, Wiener. Weenie. Come here.
I love that. I know.
Come here, Weenie.
Then we have to meet Hugh's dogs.
Well, you won't meet them all, but
meet Weenie at least.
Weenie.
Oh, Weenie. How old is Weenie now?
She's got to be 11 or 12.
Oh, really? That old? Wow.
Yeah, she's old.
Is she one of the ones that you brought up on the road that time?
No, no, it wasn't her. It was Stanley.
One time when you guys were out staying there, the dog managed to open the hotel room door and take over the entire floor.
Yeah, no, that was all of them.
Like somebody was big enough to open the door.
She knew to open it. Yeah,
and they just all took over that floor like a pack of dogs.
Luckily, and Kelly and I were downtown shopping. She gets a call from the hotel going, your dogs are loose on the 7th floor. The people are complaining.
Exactly.
So,
there's packs of wild dogs taking over a hotel. You never know.
Yeah.
In downtown Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Weird. It was weird. Okay, enough of you.
Weenie.
Right.
So your experience going into Vancouver, I guess that was your first time in Vancouver, huh?
Yes.
In style.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, going in style, yeah.
It was great.
I bet, yeah. It's like, at the height of rock and roll's stardom for those guys in many ways, too.
You know what, and I think that, well, no, I can't say we were the first. I remember when AC/DC.
Yeah. It's funny because their new record was done partly in Vancouver again.
Yeah.
So they have a long history with Mike Fraser, but you guys had Bruce Fairbairn, Bob Rock, of course, was involved. But yeah, so like Aerosmith, Poison, back in those days, Whitesnake, all these groups. Everybody was recording. Motley Crue, obviously. Even Metallica, I think, did some stuff with Bob up in Vancouver at some point or another. But but yeah, it was a really big deal to be up there and to be, it's a beautiful city. There's all kinds of recreation. Late night recreation, I think, was probably
it's the best time I never had.
I can't remember any of it.
No,
just a blur. And wait, Tico was your roommate. I think I remember that.
There was we had at that particular place there were 4 suites.
Right.
And it was me and T in one, Richie and David in one, and Alec and John in one.
That's so
and
funny.
Alec's room was right over mine, and I didn't find that out until after the fact.
Right.
I couldn't get a particular bass line out of my head after all night. I'm laying there, I'm trying to go to sleep. Then I found out that it was Al upstairs learning
your part, essentially.
Yeah, but
exactly. Good work if you can get it. So did you know Tico prior to all this? Like before, back in the day? No? You didn't know any of the guys before all this?
Just John from doing the demo.
Right.
Or, from Runaway, but no.
Well, let's go backwards, because I'm always really interested in, how you stumbled into all this nonsense in the first place. It's always like, it was the Beatles' fault. I was going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something. You know what I mean? I was like, but what made you pick up the guitar or the bass? Or
Ed Sullivan.
Yeah. It was. So you were around for that.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody talks about that, and I always feel kind of ripped off, because for us it was things like, I don't know, punk rock and later on and whatnot. Kiss was a big thing for us. But finding getting to watch that thing in real time, Ed Sullivan. It must have been like one day was this, that happened, and the next day was a whole other world.
Yes.
Straight
up. But not like COVID.
No.
A much better COVID.
Yeah, quite the opposite, actually.
Quite the opposite, polar opposite. But it's I got goosebumps thinking about it.
Is that right? Wow, I love hearing that, because I'm the impact that they had on me. And it's after the fact. It's like the band's been broken up for years. It's like that kind of thing. But to hear it in real time just always blows my mind. Like to be able to have sat there, watch that happen as a kid. I would assume you were just a kid.
Yeah.
And then the next day decide I'm growing my hair like this. I'm going to get a guitar.
I was in Catholic grade school, so they weren't going to let me grow my hair. But
there you go.
It was I still to this day look for any old live performances, and just I'm still as enamored. I'll sit there like,
I know. One of the things I always say, what's funny to me is, as singers in the 21st century, it's like the in-ears, and I'll see guys with in-ears and a bank of monitors, and something will go down and it's just panic. It's just like mass panic. And then I look at the Beatles in 1960 whatever, and they can't hear anything. They can, but they're singing perfectly, the three of those guys. And I'm just like, it's just mind-blowing to watch.
I know. It is to me too. That's the other thing when people complain about, I need more of this and less of that, and some of this and more of that, and this and that. And it's like, watch any of these watch the Beatles, watch Cream, watch Rolling Stones, watch
Hendrix.
Before they had foldback monitors.
I know. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to hear anything. Literally, I mean, it would be just like noise. But at the same time, as musicians, you get so accustomed to playing together, you just know where you are and you know your stuff.
Well, I think it was just a better version of when they played in Germany, when they played every night for like 8-9 hours a night.
Yeah,
I think that was the one. That's the thing that strengthened them to the point of, because how many of those shows, even though it was only like a handful of songs, having to try to sing over that. I don't ever remember hearing anything of, they lost their voices in one night and they couldn't sing, or I don't ever remember seeing or hearing any of that.
I think that, because you grew up in playing in cover bands and top 40 bands, and I did too. And I think there's something, I always say that I look to the Beatles that way, because they would never have been the band that they were had they sort of meandered around Liverpool, I guess, just, in their basement, and then playing they had to go away and just like, slug it out and play, like you said, 5 sets a night. Yeah. And it made them, better players, better writers, and all points in between, and becoming comfortable on stage. They clearly, you could say what you want about multiple things there, but the fact that those guys were so good together is mind blowing, and I think that watching its effect on you is really exciting for me.
No, they were just greater than the sum of their parts. They were. And it was magical, and it'll never happen again, and all that. And that's when I'm happy to be old, because I got to see a band.
Yeah, that's the new expression. Yeah, I know. So how long did it take before you went, I'm going to get a guitar? I'm going to pick up a bass, whatever it is.
Well, my parents said that I wanted drums, but I can't say anything to them now because they're no longer around. But
right.
I just always remember it as being a bass, and I remember
McCartney, because of McCartney.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I would, after seeing him, I'd be in my basement with a left-handed playing the broom, left-handed. I almost said left-handed broom. The left-handed smoke shifter.
Yeah, exactly. They might make a left-handed broom. I'm not sure. Yeah.
They might. I don't know. I think it's like a hot or bass. You can do it either way. It looks
exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then my parents got me a Japanese precision bass copy called a Segovia.
Oh, sure.
And yeah. But then I went through, the Rickenbacker. I got a Hofner, and then I got a Rickenbacker.
Great.
And
all the stuff.
Fenders. Yeah. And so it was bass all the way.
And how long is it before other guys who caught the same bug say, let's get together in somebody's basement and just make racket,
There was a band on every street.
Wow.
Where I grew up, or more.
Yeah. So they truly were like the Pied Piper of or Johnny Appleseed, really, just creating bands all across the
people were getting together and listening to records and playing guitars and learning all the parts the hard way with an LP.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That everybody now that's on their phone constantly.
I know.
Well, in those days, you didn't have a phone. You had a guitar or a bass or whatever, and you put the time in there.
Absolutely. And that really trained your ear as well, in the same way of playing all those cover songs and whatnot too.
Yeah, and it shows just in how long these bands have lasted.
Yeah.
For their sound, whether the band lasted 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, it was so good.
Yeah.
There's nothing to me now that I have heard that it comes close. I start hearing all this stuff from the 60s and 70s, early 70s, and I go, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Great song.
Well, it brings up an interesting point because, when we were young, and I'm younger than you, but at the same time, no one really thought of. Sorry to point that out. But not that much. But I'm pointing out no one really thought about the idea of the Stones being in their 70s or Paul McCartney being, Ringo Starr is 80 years old and he was supposed to be doing dates this year, but because of this, he's not. Yeah. And it's like, I think we thought of like blues guys or, maybe some country guys being older and still playing music, but we never really thought about it. And we're living it real time. What happens to a rock band, the Rolling Stones being that rock band? What happens to a rock band as they become, beyond senior citizen age, really? I mean, if you consider 65 to be senior citizen, these guys are 10 years older than that and they're still playing. Yeah.
I know. That's when, anytime I think, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this by the time we're able to go back out again or not, then I got to smack myself and go, come on.
I know. Yeah. Mick Jagger's in better shape than I've ever been. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He has a heart surgery during the break.
Yeah.
I'm fine now. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go. Yeah.
What's the first song? Third set? Okay.
Well, that's the funny thing about all of this, because the joke has always been like, there's no retirement plan in rock and roll. You just keep going until you basically can't do it anymore. And I suppose there's some truth in that. With Bon Jovi, John's not wired to kind of just stop.
Well, it'll be interesting to see after this past year how people's perception of what they have to do or need to do or feel they, you know what I mean? It could, a lot of that could be shifted with certain people. I'm not saying he's going to do that.
Right.
But I found myself, we talked about this. I found myself sitting here going, do I even want to pick a bass up? Well, number one, nothing's more boring than playing bass by itself. But and I haven't. I mean, I picked it up, when we got together to do, the recording stuff a month or two ago. But
sure,
it's been, house is being worked on, so it's all like, I don't even know where it is.
Well, I mean, it's funny that you say that, because I think a lot of people don't understand that it is your job in a sense. It's sort of like, it's like the guitar or the bass or whatever, sometimes becomes a bit of a toolbox or something that you take to work. And sometimes you come home and you just don't really think about it until it's time to brush up. Work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think
make the donuts.
Time to make the donuts. Exactly. But I think that, I'm quite optimistic, and a lot of people, I'm always sort of an optimist that way, but I kind of feel like this, as things roll out, as things sort of, there will be some sense of normal. And I think, honestly, the audience itself, even though none of us really, I don't think any of us take live music for granted. We don't take the fact that Eddie just passed away, or Bowie or Prince or any of those things. No one said, like, I mean, we all have said at one point or another, like, oh, I'll go see them next time. You know what I mean? And there comes a point where eventually there's not going to be another Rolling Stones concert. There's not going to be another Paul McCartney concert. There will be another Bon Jovi concert, maybe 10, 20 years from now. I don't know. So I think that there's the fact that this has happened. I think in a lot of ways it sort of creates this energy that when it comes back, I think people are going to be raring to go.
Oh, I agree. Oh, yeah. I agree. It's going to be like the starter pistol.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, definitely. And one thing that this doesn't even, I'm talking to myself. I'm thinking of something and I went, no, that doesn't make sense. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here and bounce these things off of you. Or you can bounce them off yourself, clearly.
No, I bounce lots of things off. My wife bounces things off my head.
Yeah, well, she's a saint, that one. God love her.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, but I think that's really the most interesting thing, and the fact that you guys have an album. There's a few. Corey Taylor put out a record. A few other my other friends or people that I know in their bands have put out records, and I'm very curious, because we're starting to talk about maybe we're going to do this, maybe we're going to do that, but there's so much beard stroking about, like, well, what do you do when you put out a record and you can't play live?
But that's been heavily on social media. I've never. John had to be like the last guy. I thought I was, but no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'll see him on there all the time. Promoting, whether it be the wine for his son, or the new record, or just
pasta sauce. He's got pasta sauce.
That's his dad.
Yeah, that's right. The dad does. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think it's interesting that when we talk about that too, because when Bon Jovi started, completely different world. You know what I mean? Oh. Vinyl's still a thing. MTV is brand new. I mean, I remember seeing the Bon Jovi video, the Runaway video, and being from Canada, we assumed Bon Jovi was a French word, like Bon Jovi. We just kind of went, who are these guys? What a catchy tune, that kind of thing. But to witness that sort of, like, to still be around even after MTV stopped playing live or music videos, and after the transition of different musical mediums from into cassettes and CDs, and then into waveforms, and to still be around, it's a mind-blowing thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, he's really good at reinventing. And just keeping it fresh,
and respectfully finding a new way to do things at the same time, because it's funny, because when you would have been recording Keep the Faith, which I think a lot of people say is the sort of transition album in a funny way, like where the haircut happened. It was front page news that John cut his hair. But Bon Jovi was one of the only bands that it's always an interesting conversation, because Bon Jovi sort of was a hair band when we use that term. But it was because they had a lot of hair, but it never really sounded like a hair band. You know what I mean? Like, when I look back now, I go, there was still a whole lot of Springsteen and stuff going on in those records.
Yeah.
And they clearly went to the light when that happened. They kind of went
Southside,
100%. All that Jersey stuff. And then there became that sort of, like, there's a little bit of an alternative U2 kind of influence that started to flow in the 90s and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he listens to everything.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, he's been really smart about like, taking it, evolving the thing into where you could still play Living on a Prayer live, but you can do like more roots oriented type music, which we would.
We've done that.
Yeah, and like,
but still, that that one album that we did called "This Left Feels Right."
Yeah,
it was nice idea. I don't think people like you fucking with their memories.
Swear away. No, but I think it's okay, and I think again that whether it's a misstep or not, it doesn't really seem to have affected the bigger picture of what Bon Jovi. I mean, because it's not like they suddenly are playing clubs. I mean, you guys
no,
it's like
I'm just saying
county fairs. It's like, no, you guys, Bon Jovi's still a massive arena act, stadium act, and ever shall be. I mean, it's just it's sort of like I was saying in the 90s when a lot of bands were affected by a very sort of massive shift in the music industry. Bon Jovi seemed to just kind of like keep on keeping on. It's impressive.
It was a little tough. It was a little tough in the grunge thing because that's when I started doing it live.
Right.
And I remember, we did Letterman, and it was like, well, wear some ripped jeans and a plaid shirt and a baseball hat, and it was like, okay, cool. Grow the facial hair out.
So basically, wear what I'm wearing as opposed to putting on an outfit to go play a show. Yeah.
And but it was great, but it didn't. I think it was smarter to sort of break the hairband mold with the fancy clothes and everything else, and sort of get closer to where with the whole grunge thing was happening, but still keep his music the way it is. Don't try to get into the whole grunge thing. Don't emulate that. Stay true to yourself, basically. I would.
Yeah, I never got the sense of that. If anything, I think that, like, looking back, because I was working with Bob Rock right around Keep the Faith as well. In fact, during Keep the Faith, I think I've talked to you about this before. So, Bon Jovi's in Studio A at Little Mountain Studios in Vancouver, and Bob Rock had brought my band, a little band from the prairies in Canada, the Midwest, I guess would be the equivalent. He brings us out to Vancouver. I want to record you guys. Okay. We're like just a bunch of kids that we come out to Vancouver, and we're recording in Little Mountain in a little tiny closet off the right of the studio. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Bob was doing you guys, and then he'd come over and do this, do that, and he'd run back to you guys. So it was really fascinating watching you, because I remember that shift as well, plain as day, because we were all kids who grew up growing our hair long. We get to wear leather pants. Yay. Like a whole thing. You just love rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then the shift happens, and then but Bon Jovi, John especially, seemed to be smart enough to go, okay, to take a hard look at it and go, okay, this is how this is.
Let's try this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that he'd already been kind of playing with that, even the previous, whether it was Jersey or whatever the record was prior to that, the hair was getting flatter, there was more jeans, less, fancy trousers and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, he's always been, to their credit, Richie's credit as well, they've always been really great songwriters and been able to come up with
they practice their craft.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for you, when you jump on that ship, like when you suddenly, how does that call happen? You just sort of like, hey man.
The last call was, I think we're going back to work.
Right.
The road manager.
Right.
That was, for all this recording and filming and stuff. Yeah, no.
How did the initial call happen though, when you were like, hey, instead of being the guy who plays on the stuff, come be the guy?
Well, that one was, he toyed with me for a long time. Well, we'll see what the fans say. We'll see this, we'll see that. And then he just did it to, okay, Karen.
Dangling.
I'm asking everybody else, do you know anything? You know, what's going on here? Until I finally, one time, I forget, we were in some studio somewhere, and it was just him and I sitting there, and I said something to the effect of, so, listen, I got to know. Because, you know, there's a tour coming up. He went,
So I love it. So was that sort of like, yeah. You're
right. Yeah.
It wasn't like there was no cake made for you or a watch.
No, there was nothing. No, there wasn't like. I don't think it was. There was even. I think it was so fresh from Al that that I don't think he even thought farther than that tour.
Right.
That I basically, and I didn't. I looked at it as, you know, okay, great. This will be fun, and I know the songs.
Right,
and,
of course.
So yeah, so for it to be, what is it, 30 some years later? It's
that's crazy to think about. But I mean, the fact that, do you think there's something to be said about the fact that the New Jersey connection within that initial lineup that he put together, were hugely Italian and you know, like that kind of very sort of like family.
Jersey.
Yeah,
Jersey. Jersey. That anybody that's from Jersey or spent a lot of time in Jersey, it's not even an Italian or an Irish or anything. It's just a Jersey thing.
So did you? Was there any sort of like, let's bring in the Philadelphia guy, or sort of like just
no, because I basically lived in Jersey longer than I lived in Philadelphia.
So there you go. Yeah.
It's, you know, it's the tri-state area, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, you've proven yourself as a player. You'd proven yourself on the records. It was like, you just kind of like, I'm sure as soon as that seat became vacant, it was like, well, just call Hugh. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was that simple. I think there were some other names thrown about.
Oh, really?
I think Tico, you know, he really wanted me to do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I think I seem to remember.
Do you know any of the other names? I'm fascinated now.
No, I'm not saying any of the other names.
Come on,
because I can't say for positive. I can't say for sure.
Oh, I see.
This is my take. Nobody ever said anything to me. I've seen interviews with some people that say they played on Bon Jovi records, or and I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Well, you were there, not me. But I find the whole thing fascinating. So, I mean, I don't know where to go from here, because it's so, watching it all go down, it's how quickly does your life change? Does it suddenly become like people recognize you? Or is it still kind of like you have the luxury of being behind that guy? Is that what?
It was. I wasn't in pictures. I didn't exist. No, I wasn't kidding. I didn't exist. It was like I stood by a mirror. There was no reflection. Pictures. There was a space there.
Yeah.
And
there's
so
like an empty space on your driver's license, just like a blank.
Yeah. Well, no, only if I put the driver's license in the mirror.
Oh,
then it didn't show.
I got you.
But no, I didn't. No, I still don't. No, but I don't have problems.
Yeah,
walking around. So then I never have. You know, unless they're hardcore. If it's somewhere in Europe, then early on, I think there was some getting chased down the street type things when you're going, I'm in the movie, help.
Hard Day's Night, yeah.
See, there you go. That's the Beatle thing with me.
Well, it is handy having a guy like John, who is very clearly,
oh yeah,
he's the Elvis of the situation. It's like
that's what that Tico used to say to me. Yeah. Okay, listen. When we get off the plane, go through the airport. If John goes right, go left. Serpentine.
Brilliant. I think that makes. I do the same thing with the top hat guy on occasion. Yeah. It's like if he's going, or even if like you go out with him, you can just like they all attack him, and I just get to walk on the bus or whatever. It's like,
yeah, you get your feet walked on.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll knock me out of the way to talk to him. I know that.
Oh, that will happen.
Yeah, it will. But yeah, that's. So, did you ever at any point have any interest in? I think we talked about this before once about like. You never really had that kind of like when's Hugh's chance to make a solo album and
never.
Yeah, I like that about you. You're not like, where's my spotlight? You're like, no, I'm a supportive. It's like you're like the defenseman on the hockey team, if I may use hockey as a reference for you.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling me an athletic supporter. I love that. That's going in the book.
I don't know if I would love to use a football reference, but I would embarrass myself as a Canadian.
No, I don't do that. No, nothing. It's great. Things turned out like they should.
Yeah.
And how can I complain? I get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's
good enough. Yeah, he was good enough. I was good to be included in that, and that was the cherry on the top.
But you were in the lineup way longer than the previous lineup.
Yeah,
was.
But remember, the Hall of Fame had the thing. Some bands had to do it, other bands didn't, where had to be the original guys.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But then that changed. When the Eagles got up there was like, how many people?
Of course.
Chicago,
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was just, it was the cherry. It was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that you are a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer is the peak of everything, really. I mean, it's like you could basically retire tomorrow and it'd be like, which guy?
You were asking about the mayor. This was the one that was in, and he's like an old Jewish dog.
I love it. What's his name?
Stanley. Hi,
Stanley. How many?
The mayor of Las Vegas.
The mayor of Las Vegas. How many dogs do you guys have?
4.
4 dogs. Okay, yeah. I've met a few of them along the way.
Yes, ones they're laying all around.
Well, they all took over a hotel in Branson, Missouri once, so
yeah.
I became aware of them. That's true. Yeah. So what was that like? What is I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a tourist, but I've never gone to an event. What was it like? Is it a major deal? You're in a limousine, you got the wife, you're dressed up. I mean,
yeah.
Who else was inducted that night? Oh, was it pouring rain?
Oh, it was pouring rain. Who else was abducted?
Who else was abducted that night? I can't think of it either. I just watched your thing not that long ago, but Alec is in it. You're in it. Richie's in it.
Yeah.
So it's like 6 or 7 of you, I guess, all told.
7.
Yeah, 7. That's and honestly, it's the way it should be because.
John, Richie, Tico, David, myself, and Al.
And we got to quickly say.
That's
6. Yeah, that's 6. So just basically, yeah. So 2 bass players basically is how it works. So just really quickly.
I just realized something. I don't have to be. I thought 7 was 6. I don't have to count any higher than 5. 5 strings. That's all I need.
Exactly. 4 bars. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So when that all happens, you go home. They give you an award or a plaque, or how does that work? What do you?
They sent. Yeah, they. Well, hold on. I'll
it's perfect. Yes.
Oh,
I love that. Hugh is the best. He loves to share dogs.
Share dogs.
Everything. Oh wow, that's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award right there. That is so rad, dude.
You could slit your throat with it.
Yeah, it looks quite dangerous actually. Like you could probably cut pizza with that thing.
It's the first.
Yeah. Does it spin?
Yeah. I might try it. I don't think it has to. I think ruining this. How'd you do that? I was, thick crust pizza.
Yeah, you have to ask for a second one. Yeah, that's so awesome.
And I don't mean to be. I just thought about that. I'm going, look what I got. And I didn't mean
that. Dude, I've never really won awards. Well, I mean, I got some, records or whatever and stuff like that. But an actual, that's become in a lot of ways sort of the pinnacle, really. I mean, and when you look at the list of people that your name is on a list of a lot of crazy people on there, and the guys that you grew up loving, the Beatles.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a big deal. It's very cool. But it really, after all these years doing it, it was like, that's great.
I know. I think that's really exciting. And like I say, it's the coolest thing playing with you guys in the rock vault is it's sort of like Yeah, we used to love doing that show, and it was. I mean, hopefully it'll be back. I mean, we haven't really spoken too much at length about it because during COVID everything kind of shut down. But
Right.
I loved seeing you and Howard, you know, and just sort of like getting a sense of like where this is headed, you know, and how you could continue to grow and still move forward as a musician, as opposed to like, meh, you know, kind of like just sort of shut it down, put my feet up, you know. It's like I find it really inspiring actually to watch you guys kind of still out there killing it. And again, Bon Jovi, you know, it's John is a machine, man. I mean, he might. We always talk about how, you know, he's let the hair go gray. He's like, but he's still, again, another guy in better shape than I'll ever be. Oh, and yeah. No. Even though I know he sort of threatens once in a while, doesn't even threaten, but he jokes about like, well, you never know, I might shut it down. That guy will never stop. So you'll always have work. I think you'll always be working. Maybe beyond when you want to stop working, you might be kind of like, yeah. You might be like, are we done yet? Let's shut it down.
You know, that's what people say. What's your favorite song in the set? The last one.
Yeah, exactly. You're already making plans in your head.
Making drinks in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that it's you know, it's really inspiring. And I from here out, the interesting thing about being in Nashville is you can actually find yourself in a position to becoming a session guy again, you know, and suddenly being, you know, once things are normal.
There's a lot of them here.
I know, and a lot of amazing players. Yeah.
Oh, just nuts.
You'll walk down Broadway and in just some little chicken shack, there's some guys playing in there that just make me feel like I never want to pick up the guitar again, or pick it up and really, really work hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's mind blowing. But as you know, having the award there, you can just walk around with that and just sort of, you should wear it around your neck like Flava Flav or something.
It's really heavy.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I don't want to hate myself.
But you might find yourself in a position where suddenly, like, hey, you can do some session stuff. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but
no, it's I would in a second. You know, it's hard to gauge now because this COVID thing. It's hard to gauge how long you have to be here to get into it, or I hadn't even been here long enough to really go see people play, which is the thing to do.
Of course,
if you're trying, you know, to meet people.
I know, that's the thing.
Well, and even people that I know here that I haven't seen in a while.
Of course, yeah.
Come up, but you can't go see them.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of head of operations happens in Nashville for you guys, because I mean, you record there, or you record a bunch there.
Yeah, we did the new record here, and I'm trying to figure out. Thank God, they all flew here to rehearse and do this stuff.
Yeah.
Which was great. It's like, I can drive home every night.
Exactly. What a luxury, huh? Well, after like staying in hotels all the time every time you make a record or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, no more. Not if we do them here.
Well, hopefully things open up sooner than later, and I think you're right with vaccines and whatnot. Well, we could be seeing potentially, you know, in 2021 stuff bouncing back a lot quicker than people think. Like you said, like I was saying. I think the audience is super ready. You know what I mean? Like when you guys are hitting the stage, it's going to be on. I mean, everybody's going to be super excited.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a fight to book arenas and places to do these things.
Absolutely.
I don't know if anybody's started that yet.
The traffic jam is going to be crazy when every band is coming through town, and there's going to be like
sports.
Oh yeah,
we got to work around them anyway.
Always.
The venues are
always. Well, I'm really thankful you got to do this twice, because we did this once before. Well, you know what? I just make up excuses to just call Hugh and.
Man, you can call me anytime. I miss you. I miss you. I miss everybody from that show.
I know. I talk to, you know, on occasion I get a chance to talk to people, but it's the same thing, dude. It's like I'm in Vegas and I don't see anybody. So I'm hoping to chase down a few other of our friends like this so we can kind of hang out. Rowan, obviously. Laws I've done, so that was really fun. But I look forward to crossing paths. I like I say, if I can ever get my ass out there, I'd love to kind of come see the place, overstay my welcome, sleep on the couch,
We got a couch. We got we're having this redo here. So
I'm very excited to see what you've done. Yeah, I never even saw the Utah place, so this will be exciting. Great. Cool. Well, I love you, brother, and it's so great catching up. Please, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I look forward to whenever the next time we cross paths.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy. Big love. Take care.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.